Now, we knew in America what the code of the Japanese was. We had broke their code as they were sending messages from ship to ship and from land to ship. So we knew that their fleet was moving somewhere in the Pacific. We knew they were planning an attack on us, but where were they planning it? We thought maybe the Philippines, maybe somewhere else. We did not know they were coming to Hawaii. The U.S. and Japan continued peace talks to try to avoid war. General Toko Hideki took control of Japan. He was a military guy. He knew we were going to go to war with the United States. He knew the United States would have to fight two wars at the same time, one in Asia, one in Europe. So he said, let's do it. We might as well bring war to them before they can bring it to us. So he sent his aircraft carriers out, and there they are, heading towards Hawaii. On December 7th, 1941, a radar operator saw planes heading towards Hawaii. But the officer on duty knew that there were planes coming from the United States, B-52 bombers. So he told the radar operator, ignore those blips on your screen. It's just these planes coming in from California. It was really an attack by the Japanese. 180 planes raced towards Pearl Harbor, and about half the United States fleet was sitting there in Pearl Harbor waiting. Most people were asleep. It was early in the morning. In less than 2 hours, the attack was over. There you can see some pictures of the Missouri exploding. There's Missouri sinking. This is an airfield on the other side of Hawaii that was attacked. There are ships sink in the process of being sunk here. These are all battleships. There's a battleship capsizing, another one on fire. This is Dory Miller, who was most African Americans during World War II. If you were in the Navy, you worked in the kitchen or you worked in support areas. He worked in the kitchen. When the attack happened, he got up on deck and began to fire a gun that he'd not been trained on, and he won a medal, and they used him for recruiting. And there's the guy who played him in the movie, Cuba Gooding Jr. There's Japan. Now, the good thing about what happened at Pearl Harbor is the target of the Japanese was our aircraft carriers, but our aircraft carriers were not in the naval station at the time. Our destroyers were, and worst of all for us, our battleships were, which are the biggest ships apart from the aircraft carriers. And a lot of them were sunk. 2,400 Americans died during Pearl Harbor. 1,200 were wounded. 200 planes were destroyed, mostly on the ground. And of the 9 battleships that were there, 8 of them were sunk, and 18 other ships were hit. Only 29 Japanese planes were shot out of the sky. That was a pretty big win for the Japanese. In fact, they came once, they came again. They were getting ready to come a third time when the Japanese commander said, look, we got to call this off. Eventually help's going to come. December 8th, America declared war on Japan. It was in his address to the nation and to Congress. FDR called it a day that will live in infamy. And on December 11th, because we declared war on Japan, Germany and Italy declared war on us, and we were in the war. Supposedly, Admiral Isoroku Yamamoto, who was in charge of the Japanese Navy, said at the time of the bombing of Pearl Harbor, I fear that all we have done is awaken a sleeping giant. Some people say he didn't say that. I like to think he did, because that is a great quote. This is the USS Missouri, which sits underwater and has a memorial on top of it, which you can visit in Hawaii. Some of you may have been there. That memorial is untouched. In fact, oil still leaks from it. You can see from that picture. If you served on the memorial on the USS Missouri during World War II, you can still be buried inside of it. In fact, every soldier that died in that ship is still inside that ship. That ship has been sealed off, and it is a memorial, like a grave site on the ocean. All right, that's the lecture.